I'm Justin with AmericanMuscle.com, and in this video, we're taking a closer look at some brand new turnkey race cars from Ford Performance, and we're making some horsepower. Let's go. We're here with Ford Performance amongst a sea of awesome cars and two guys who are much smarter than I am. We're here with Dave, who is the engineering manager with Ford Performance, and Corey, who is a calibration engineer here at Ford Performance as well. And these guys are gonna be helping us out here today. We're gonna be talking about some Ford Performance power packs later on, but first, Dave, we hear some awesomeness back there. I am a curious soul. We see all this cool stuff going around, so can we check that out?
So yeah, we do development work on performance packs, but lots of other cool things to see here in this facility. So yeah, let's go take a look.
Well, Dave, just when I thought this building couldn't get any cooler, wow, we have a lot of cool stuff going on back here, including some of the FP350S stuff, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, looking all around you, right? Everywhere you look, you can see these cars in process. We're going to be doing 50 of these turnkey road race cars. You can buy this thing out of the catalog, right? So it's really neat to show that maybe the depth of what Ford Performance Parts does. Things like chassis kits, suspension kits, power pack calibrations, all the way up to a full-on race car that you can buy right out of our catalog. So pretty cool stuff.
Wild. You can honestly pick up a Ford Performance catalog, order a cold air intake kit, or maybe $100,000+ turnkey race car.
Yeah.
Power plant, it's 5.2 base, correct?
5.2 based, right? Yeah, very similar to the road-going car, but we choose to use a cross-plane configuration in the engine. Production cars have that flat plane, which is really awesome because it's that great sound, really spins the engine fast. Ford chose to make that exclusive to the road-going car. Still makes great power. It's a really good, reliable, awesome engine.
To replicate something like this on your own and be competitive is hard to do.
Yeah, absolutely. If you wanted to go build this car on your own with the level of engineering that goes into it, you just couldn't. It has a cage that's certified by the FIA. Same roll cage system that's used in the GT4 cars that race in Pirelli World Challenge and in IMSA, but it's got the same level of safety. Like I said, it's got that nice cage in it, fire suppression system in there, right?
Well, I tell you what, we've seen a relatively complete one here. You guys got some in varying shapes of completeness, I guess. Can we check out?
Yeah, we can go back to the start. Yeah, so this is essentially what we start with, right?
Okay.
A body in white. We get these right out of Flat Rock Assembly Plant, right down the street from us. Gonna go from here, we'll walk over the other side of the shop, we'll take a look at where we start to do the modifications on these before they turn into a real race car.
The body in white term, I think, is something that these guys might be familiar with, might not. You're starting with a fresh, bare chassis.
Yeah, so you think about the customer that tries to build their own race car that way. You know, it's already painted. If they're gonna wanna weld stuff in, they gotta take the paint off. There's sound deadener in here that the racers don't like to have. They gotta chisel that stuff out. Huge pain for them. You know, we order them from the plant without all that stuff put in. So it's a big advantage to be able to start with, you know, what we get from the plant as opposed to tearing a car down to do these things.
Well, I hear a lot of noise. I see some sparks being thrown. Let's go check out the next step.
Let's go see that.
Let's do it. Well, Dave, looks like we got some rotisserie going on, and I don't mean chicken. What's going on here?
First step really is to modify them and prep them. We're cleaning stuff out, we're cutting some material out, lightening the bodies a bit, and then getting them ready to go to welding, right? Which is, you know, down the other end of the shop. We'll go check that out.
Okay, very cool. So these guys basically come in, cut out what's not needed.
It takes a lot of time, a lot of work, but there's really a lot of value to it.
Awesome. Let's go check out some welding. I knew that smell anywhere. That's,
there it is.
Molten metal. What's
welding going on. This is where we put all the seam welds into the race cars and all the safety cages. So that these fellows behind you are doing all of that work. You can see there's hundreds of welds that go into these to make sure these cars are stiff and safe, really perform great.
And we were talking to a young man out there just now. He said it takes him about 4 days to stitch weld an entire car, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. And looking at it, it's easy to see why. There's a weld everywhere in this thing.
A lot of time to get all that stuff in, and that's all, again, it's all been analyzed. They're specifically placed to make sure we're getting that performance that we want out of it.
And another thing, too, to point out, with the cage work already done, it's very unique in that it goes almost back to the factory, correct, to get painted or dipped?
So yeah, this thing is going to go back to the plant, gets right on the plant line, so it gets painted just like any other Mustang, with the exception of the fact that you do have some stuff inside, so they have to do some hand painting that's special for us, right, to get that stuff all done.
All right, Dave, so we're seeing the welding. We know they go to paint, and then they
Right.
come back for essentially final assembly, correct?
Right, all these cars on the hoist in different levels of assembly. Keeping a car cool is an important thing, especially important on a race car. The production cars, you know, they're great, they're really good. The radiator that's in here is actually straight out of the production car. We didn't change that. Where we did find shortcomings for us was in the engine oil cooler. We have got a massive cooler, very thick.
Wow.
That was what we found was necessary to keep these cars cool. All this ducting that goes up tight to the fascia really keeps the air directed through it.
Okay.
But where the other place we did have trouble was the diff. When you're running the big tires and slicks and the high cornering G's and speeds, it really puts a lot of energy into that diff. So the way it's done in production, there's a cooler, a heat exchanger in the back. It picks air up underneath the car. But when you try to do it on a race car, you're going to need some more. So what we found after playing around with it for a while is if we just take this engine oil cooler that we had lying around, ran the lines all the way back to the diff, it took care of all the cooling problems that we had early in our development.
Over-engineered, but for a purpose, right?
That's right, yeah.
Well, let's make our way over here because there's one with the hood popped, and we can talk about some things under there as well.
Yeah, a
all
couple
right?
of neat features I'll show you
All
over
right,
here.
very
yeah.
cool. And here's the heart of the beast, right? And obviously we were talking 5.2 base, similar kind of architecture to the road-going 350, but instead of the flat plane, you're working with a traditional cross plane.
Right, cross plane. Some things you notice different. A breather system on this instead of a standard PCV system. In a race car, you don't really want that, so you've got a breather with a big catch can.
Okay.
Catch can's also got a line at the back there that actually drains
the
it
oil
back
pan?
to the oil pan.
No kidding.
And these cars have a massive oil pan on these things for road racing, right? You need the extra oil. We talked about cooling over here.
Yep.
You need the extra oil to keep the thing cool. It's got trap doors in it, right?
You don't
in
want
the
to
sun.
starve this thing,
You don't
right?
want to starve this baby. So a lot of engineering went into that oil pan to get that right, to make sure this thing's always getting oil, keeping it alive, right?
Well, one thing that stood out to me, Dave, is these kind of massive caster camber plate looking things on the coilovers.
These are neat, right? I really like these. So that's a camber plate. Something that's neat about it, you can see a shim stack, right?
Yeah.
So there's a number of different shims. Each one of those changes your camber by a specified amount, right?
Okay.
So for the guys that are racing these things, they go to a track, they do their setup, they figure out, okay, I want 4 degrees of camber here, and they know how many shims they've got. The track they go to next week, maybe they don't need that much camber, they want 3. I know I can take one out of here, you know, I loosen these bolts out, take one out, slide it over, put it in this side, put it back together, and it's set. You don't have to go to the rack, you know. An alignment rack is hard to do, it takes a lot of time, so you don't have to go to that every time with this kind of a system. This is just a really ingenious way of doing it. We're not the first ones, you know, we saw this and thought, hey, that's great, and we've chosen to put it on our car, so I think that's a really awesome feature.
Listen, Dave, these are awesome. I can drill over this all day long. However, out of my peripheral here, I kind of caught a glimpse of something that seems pretty interesting back there. And
I think I know what you're talking about. I think you know what you're talking about. You want to go check that out?
I would absolutely love to.
All
Let's
right,
do
let's
it.
go
All
see
right.
it.
Well, Dave, I thought I recognized that dark
Yeah,
Highland green
yeah,
color, my
pretty
friend.
sweet, huh?
Here she
Pretty
is,
sweet.
huh?
Right.
So this is the real deal Bullet here, right?
Here it is, yeah, early car. So whenever a Mustang comes out, we usually get some of these in, let our engineers pour over it, and you know, see what we can't do to make parts a little bit better for the enthusiasts.
So prove
that's
upon
why
the
this
already
baby's
awesome
here.
car.
That's
huh?
right.
That dark Highland green. Again, we saw it in Detroit, but in the sun, I
Yeah,
didn't recognize
yeah,
how much
really,
flake there
really
is.
looks great.
It's
yeah,
gorgeous. But let's
yeah.
take a look under the hood because this is the
Right.
first time I'm seeing it in person under the hood here. Obviously, with the Bullet, the big deal is they always manage to squeeze a little bit more power out of your
That's
standard
right,
GT,
that's right, yeah,
and
yeah.
you're looking at least 15 to 20 more horsepower over
That's
standard
right.
GT.
Yeah. So some of the differences, right? You can see it's got a cold air inlet system, very similar to what was in the GT350, and then the manifold itself is different. It's tuned a little bit different. It also has a little bit different exhaust system on it. So all those things combined, inlet losses, exhaust losses, helps to get that extra 15, 20 horsepower that
Very
these have
cool.
over the base Mustangs.
And it is kind of important to differentiate too, because I think a lot of guys, including myself, at first we had the preconceived notion that this was like almost a Power Pack or GT350 specific part, but similar but not identical, especially with the manifold,
exactly.
correct?
Yeah, very, very similar, but yeah, there are some subtle differences. How the thing's tuned for noise, right? There's resonators on these that are a little different. The throttle body is very much the same part as the GT350, but it's updated for a new digital electronic system. So, it would bolt on if you had the other one, but it wouldn't work, right?
Understood.
So it's got that new throttle, and then again, the manifold has some differences in the CMCV system, but otherwise the tuning of it is pretty much the same
Very
as the
cool.
GT350.
And, well, I'm not done with this thing. I want to see this thing later, but I know we do have to go inside to talk about some of these Ford Performance Power Packs as
Yeah,
well.
for sure. Let's go
break some
check
of those
those
down.
out.
All
Yeah.
right, I'll see you in a bit, baby. I'm here with Corey, calibration engineer for Ford Performance. Now, sir, you've been doing the calibration game for a long time with Ford and also Ford Performance, correct?
Correct, yeah. Started with Ford back in '97 and worked my way through various V8s, 4 cylinders, turbo 6s, yeah. And now Ford Performance to see what more we can do to them.
You get to make cars faster now. That's a cool job. Well, we're talking about power packs here today, and we're gonna break down 1 through 3, and then see some of this stuff in action on the dyno, correct?
Oh yeah, we have something for you.
Love to hear that. All right, well, let's start with our most basic, of course, and that's power pack number 1.
On the Power Pack 1, you get your programming tool, and you get a square drop-in K&N filter for your stock air box.
Okay.
So your simplest of modifications.
And that kind of stuff can be done without hand tools. I know, I've done it. And it's a nice subtle bump up in power for guys that maybe don't want to spend a whole bunch of money, and at the same time too, maybe don't want to get more involved with some other hardware like our next couple of kits, correct?
Correct.
Well, let's talk about those next couple kits, mainly Power Pack number 2. Big step up in hardware, right? You're getting the cold air intake system, the 87mm throttle body, adapter to make that work on your factory intake manifold, in addition to that ProCal. So now who is this gonna be for as far as power gains and that kind of thing?
And that's going to be for your user on the street who's looking for flatline gains across the entire band. Relatively easy install, and we'll get you some nice gains for the street.
Awesome. Now, and if you want to really step things up, personally, I think this is great bang for your buck, by the way. This is my favorite, but if you really want to step things up, you got a little bit more dough to spend, you can get the whole enchilada, right? Which is basically everything on the table, intake, throttle body, ProCal, and then this bad boy. Talk about that.
Correct, the GT350 manifold. Now, this gets a little different because now you're starting to work into tuning up on your higher RPM band. So it's going to take your horsepower peak and it's going to raise that. So you will still get some gains at the bottom end, but you're really going to see it as you go into the higher RPM bands of the engine.
Okay, so kind of like the old S197s, right? Guys that went with the Boss or a CJ, you're just making that power higher up in the power band. You got to kind of ring the car out a little bit more to see that. And another thing too that I think guys are worried about, they buy, $30,000, $40,000 Mustang. They're like, oh, I don't know if I want to necessarily tune it or change my calibration because of maybe warranty concerns.
Oh, absolutely. Going with Ford Performance, you have the Ford Performance powertrain warranty backing you up.
You can sleep easy.
Absolutely.
There you go. Well, cool, man. Again, I understand we have some parts installed. Is it the level 1 or level 3?
Oh, we've got the level 3, of course. On the
big.
dyno ready to go.
Let's go do that. Let's go make some
Yeah,
noise.
let's
What do you
do
say,
it.
Corey? All right. So it looks like we have a 15 through 17 GT here, I guess, automatic car, correct?
Correct.
And what do we have going on under the hood?
This has our Power Pack 3. So like we discussed, it has the Cal, it has the cold air intake, the throttle body, and of course the big dog, the 350 intake.
All right, so we should be seeing some pretty nice gains here at this Power Pack number 3 kit. Let's make some noise. Well, of course, you definitely sounded pretty good, man. And I know baseline numbers for these cars, the Auto S550s, fall in the 380 range, so we're right in line there. And then torque's 352. How are we looking now with the Power Pack?
As you can see up here, the red is the base and the green is the new data. You're looking at 38 horsepower up on the high end.
That's awesome. That falls right in line with what you said earlier about the manifold, right? These things really shine up top.
The tuning comes in way up, up above 5,000 RPM, and I think it's something you're going to really feel up there.
Big time real estate, over 6,000 RPM. Thank you for showing us everything today, sir.
Yeah, but we're not done with everything yet.
Well, I like surprises. We got something else to see?
Yeah, something's new and special.
Let's do it.
This is in building 2 of our Dearborn development facility.
Okay.
And this is a 2018 2.3 liter EcoBoost.
This is cool, man. I love the crimson color, and obviously it's on the dyno for the development of your calibration, I understand, correct?
Correct. Eventually we are going to offer a pack with it with cold air intake and the normal goodies our customers have come to expect. But right now we're working on the calibration.
All right. How's the work been going so far? You making some good power with this thing?
At this point, 15 to 20 horsepower. Okay. But the good part is, over 50 Newton meters for the bottom end, really fill out the bottom end.
These things make a ton of torque down low. We've experienced that on our own. Well, I'm excited to see these things in development. It's on a dyno. Can we make some noise or what?
Absolutely.
Let's
That's
do
why
that.
it's here.
All right, Corey, hope you don't mind. I made myself comfortable here, man, but car sounded good, and obviously the power gains are there.
If you look in the horsepower, peak horsepower region here in red, you'll see, yeah, the 15 we're looking for.
15 to 20, I mean, that carries, I mean, you're pointing high end there, but even down low at 2,200 RPM, there's a considerable amount of real estate between the baseline and the afterpool, which was done, by the way, same day, because I know that's always important too, conditions-wise, right?
Yeah, these are back-to-back runs we just did. I mean, you can actually see we actually started at a slightly different RPM, so the base scale had a little more time to build boost. That's what happens. The turbocharger takes a little bit of time to respond. So in this case, yeah, the base showed a little down there, but it's just because it started at a lower RPM.
Let's talk about that right there and all that space right there. That's a lot. That's that 50 foot-pounds you were mentioning earlier.
You're gonna feel that on the street when you're just driving around town in the lower RPMs. And it really makes a difference.
Well, you're a man of your word. I'd say you said 15 to 20 horsepower, about 50 foot-pounds for the development tune. I know you're not quite finalized yet, so that's why we're not giving exact numbers, but I mean, it seems like the tune's working. Well, thank you for the good day here, sir. Really appreciate all the time at Ford Performance, checking out the engine stuff. And guys, we hope you enjoyed the video as well. And for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com. Told you guys to be seeing this thing again. What do you think? 2019 Bullitt, not too bad, huh? Taking it back to Philly with me. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And for all things Mustang and 2019 Bullets, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.